Welcome back to the Think Strong pod. Here we are. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good to be back in the studio, back fully in the mix.
Back away from the laptop.
Yeah. We're going to be doing plenty of episodes behind the laptop, so it's going to be good to bank some in our professional studio.
Yeah.
Background features and all.
Yeah, sorry we haven't changed the books in a while. But
No, I haven't finished reading them yet. Now we've got an exciting episode today, as always, obviously, but a variation of topics. But the first one we're going to get straight into something that I've been kind of exploring a little bit recently and thinking about it in my own training and relating it back to some clients when they're at different stages of learning skills. Obviously, with CrossFit, it's quite skill related. Obviously, there's a lot of physical attributes that have to be built. But there's no hiding away from the reality of learning these skills. And there's a bit of a continuum, I think. I made a post the other day talking about the drill to Metcon continuum and how the mindset changes throughout that process. I don't know how much of that do you think you have seen just surface level coaching people in Bamboo, coaching the CrossFit classes?
yeah. I mean, the continuum's kind of on its head. As we've spoken about before, right? People just see the coach demonstrating the top level thing and they're like, oh, I'll just give that a bash.
Yeah.
And even though they've shown all of the regressions needed to work through to get to that point, even like a nice progression in a Metcon or a WOD that is going to keep the stimulus there for them to learn a skill within a conditioning setting, but really if they were a longer term member, there would be more of a pathway at the bottom of that continuum, right, where they can learn in isolation then build into it. But it also takes a mindset to have the ability to like comprehend what the coach is telling you to do. Yeah,
that's right. And understanding that there is like a long way to go, even if you are close to being able to do one of those reps that are being demonstrated to you. The way it looks for someone else who is performing that in a way which they're maybe trying to complement something else for a CrossFit workout, that's not something you need to be replicating necessarily.
Yeah.
I always relate it back to strength training in the fact that, okay, so you're learning this new movement, your capacity is 0. So therefore, if you get one of these reps, it's an equivalent to a 1 rep max. You need to be just as focused, be just as cautious with how you're applying tension, and be just as aware of movement quality as you would be as if you're doing a 1 rep max back squat or something like that. And that can help people to understand that, okay, just because I see people bend their legs, look relaxed, breathe all the way throughout and make things look effortless, that can help them to understand that it's not necessarily what they need to be doing at that time.
Yeah, I think that can be a difficult conversation sometimes and a sticking point with people, and they'll be like, yeah, but I see so-and-so bend their legs. It's like, yeah, but they're just saving their midline because of whatever else they might have in that workout or in that day if it's in a competition. And like getting them to focus on what's needed to be done to learn the movement correctly first. Like you said, they're starting from 0, so trying to copy someone at the top level is for want of a better word, fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's getting someone to understand that can be really difficult. Or even like somebody who has maybe like a moderate to high capacity in a movement, but they always say the really common one is like for coming into like the arch position and bending the elbow a lot as they come through and like losing tension. But some people will have like quite a high capacity doing that just because they've always done that and they've never been like coached to keep tension there. And then doing it with tension feels like they're going backwards to it like for a period of time, but then that's obviously going to help them long term. So that conversation's also really difficult because the person's like, well, I can do 10 reps that way. But then if you ask them to keep tension, like to begin with, they're going to have to use other areas of their body to like maintain a nice position. And that can be difficult, can't it, to get across to the client or the member.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of highlights really well the fact that along that continuum, it's not just a skill deficit. It might also be a strength deficit, an endurance deficit, and like fill in the gap, basically.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of things, but kind of a lot of the time, either way, it does come back to like just taking a step back on that kind of timeline or that process to focus on the thing before, to allow you then to progress slightly further, and then maybe you can adapt your mindset and your approach to that movement as you have kind of built all of the necessary traits and things that are needed to progress on to the next level, whether that is actually the next level of reps or the style of doing the movement, or it is just a mindset, like we said. One thing that's quite interesting is with CrossFit or gymnastics movements, as they do progress, sometimes those efficiencies, like you said, with like toes to bar or something kipping related, might not get exposed until they get to the higher end of the skill spectrum when it comes to movements. For example, ring muscle ups, if someone has that error, like you said, of maybe bending their arms and not maintaining tension through their upper body, that's where it's also going to get really exposed as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it might not be showing even ever on your toes to bar or ever really prove to be too much of an issue, but it's one of those things that you could actually practice on your toes to bar, which is going to help you with your ring muscle ups, which you might not be there yet with.
Yeah, I think that's you'll see that a lot with like the lower skill gymnastics. People can kind of build capacity in a poor like efficiency, but like you said, when the skill level gets higher, it will be highlighted. So they'll be able to do like 4, just not like even kipping chest to bar. Do you know what I mean? Something that involves a little bit more coordination. The movement will start to break down really early.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Just to give people a bit of context in terms of this, like drill to Metcon continuum. At one end, where you've got the drill is going to be where you're learning the movement, like we said, where the capacity is really low. You're at like 0 to maybe 5 reps, and your focus is purely on bringing as much tension, as much awareness to your body as possible to execute that rep in the most efficient way possible. That doesn't necessarily mean the most efficient way to get through a big set where you're breathing and relaxing in certain places. You're almost definitely going to have more tension and creating more global tension, I suppose, to execute that movement, to complete it nicely. And then as you kind of work down that continuum, we start to drop off a little bit of that focus on tension and efficiency to complement slightly different things. And as you move away from like 0 interference, so nothing paired with it, we might start to focus on maybe just banking a few more reps and moving in a way which might permit that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean dropping off all of the quality, but it might mean relaxing the tiniest bit in certain areas just to permit getting slightly closer to failure, because that's obviously a really important thing for building capacity. And just being able to get used to training it with other things. And then that mindset shift slowly progresses as you add more and more interference, which is, like we said, other movements, things which might be opposing muscle groups or they might be the same muscle groups, to ultimately prepare you for performing it in a Metcon scenario, which is complete interference. It might be a lot, it might be a little, but the idea is that you've built the capacity to be able to do things, completely under fatigue, or move really well in whatever scenario with a high capacity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is kind of what we wanted to touch on with that continuum and how it affects people's training mindset, and how people are perhaps not as aware of it as they could be.
I think even like the continuum is probably a lot longer for some people than they believe it should be. If they're a new client as well and they've been doing toes to bar for however long, it might be 6 months, and they have maybe like 5 or 6 reps, then they start to break down like every time. But then they come to you and you're like, okay, your hand position is like not, or your grip width is like not great. So then you've already like changed the movement completely, because you're moving them into a space now where need to understand tension in a new position for the shoulder. So like for them, like just kip swings with really good tension, like really is their starting point. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like first moving their hands and then being like, okay, go back to the same, because it will feel completely different.
Yeah.
And then all of the different like add-ons that you can do to that. Do you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to know your thought actually. Like it was on the course that I did, a lot of people were asking, we had a bit of a discussion. I was like, would you go knees to chest, or sorry, knees to elbows first, or knees to chest, or would you go straight leg, kipping straight leg first? Do you know what I mean? And everybody on the course had like a different thing. And I was like, it would depend on the person as well, right? But if you could write like an A to B, like 0 to toes to bar, what would you put first?
Straight legs would always come first from a kipping standpoint.
Yeah.
So beat swing and then straight leg kip swing is what I call it. So essentially it's just an extended beat swing. And then there it's like, it would branch off into 2 points. It would be, is that person getting their feet to a point where it's like, okay, you could probably just compress a bit more and touch. Or is it a case of this person really needs to like have an active compression? And then, yeah, we'd go to probably not even kipping knees to chest. It would be alternating, because that's really good at teaching people to compress first. Obviously that's the goal, to get the knees up to then get the toes up, but to then straighten the legs out again to go into a really nice hollow to arch, so you don't lose that connection of what you've basically just learned with the kip.
Yeah, I think like that part of the movement is often completely disregarded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that nobody's really told, oh, you should be like kicking down to get into a nice like hollow and arch position again. That's where you see like the heels flick up and the bend at the knee, and then everything starts to break down from there. Yeah. So like yeah, the movement looks simple to the eye, but there's so many different things within there that if you're looking to like master the movement, it can be broken down into like way more, can't it?
Definitely. And I think people are almost naive to think that the elite athletes are not spending that time on the most basic movements. Like even if you maybe, I don't know, train in the same gym as someone who's really good and you might not see them do that, like you can probably have a lot of confidence that at some point they've broken down a movement and they've made a tweak to it and they've taken a step back on that continuum to be able to get it to move forwards again to the level that it's at now.
Yeah, you'll definitely see there'll be workouts where like a good athlete will break down in.
Yeah.
And then you can guarantee that their coach is going back to the drawing board with that movement and putting them on some sort of continuum, whether like, yeah, they're probably not going to go back to doing just a kip swing, but they might be going back to just build capacity, and could even be like kipping knees to chest and build like more compression through that. Do you know what I mean?
There was an athlete, I don't know if you saw it, it was a bit of a thing on socials, how she was really not happy with how she went in the open, the ring muscle ups.
Oh, ring muscle ups.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. Good like semi-finals level athlete.
She's the girl that was doing turf games, no?
Oh, really?
The one with Jack. That's that girl.
Oh, is it her?
The one that won the Open.
Oh,
like
the Trough Games specialist.
Trough Games specialist.
That's a bit of an inside joke. But,
yeah. I think it was her.
Oh, okay.
Because someone said that she was doing like 1,000. Is it 1,000?
Yeah, Evan did a breakdown.
Like reps on like, yeah, I saw a few people
6 weeks or something, yeah.
Yeah, and then it didn't come up, did it, in the workouts?
No. But that kind of goes to show that someone who's an elite athlete, like, you know, they understand that it's got to come back to work in isolation sometimes. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of what she did, but assuming that she followed good practice, and if she's banking that many reps, it's not going to be under like massive fatigue.
No. Yeah, it was interesting actually, seeing that.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of athletes now, especially CrossFit, that are showing more of like the unsexy kind of stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
Because hopefully it can bring some light to people that just think stuff's like a given or easy. We see it, and we're going to talk about this a bit later, but in weightlifting, it's like you want to do a clean, but you can't even hold the barbell in the front rack position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like there's a continuum everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But in gymnastics, it's like gets overlooked so much.
I think what you said there and like showing a bit more of like the stuff that's not quite so sexy is good from two perspectives, because there's definitely a group of people which kind of have assigned CrossFit to be in this kind of out there thing. These athletes are just outliers from the norm. They just do too much all the time. It's not like it's not the scientifically best way to train, blah blah blah. And it's like naive to think that people are this level in such a demanding sport that they don't have a well thought out, well structured approach which has got a lot of foresight in it, which complements movement quality, blah blah blah. Yeah, there's people that are on varying levels of the spectrum to that, like maybe Chandler Smith, who never used to be a particularly good Olympic weightlifter technically, but he's done a massive amount of work to improve that over the years. And I think that's a good example of the fact that like there's definitely a group of people, like especially coaches, I think, that seem to take this moral high ground where they just assign CrossFit to be in this thing which, one, they don't understand, two, like it's just naive to think that people get to that level of physical ability without a solid knowledge of training. They think they're still doing like, I don't know, Murph in the morning, Fran in the evening, blah, 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 just like completely like annihilating themselves, which that training that they're doing might look like annihilation to you, but it's because you haven't built the tolerance and the capacity to even dream about getting anywhere close to it, which requires a whole lot of remedial movement quality, attention to technique, and all of that stuff.
I think off the back of that, I saw a guy yesterday talking about just like people not squatting to depth, right? And like it's not really like that person's fault, but the problem that I have and the problem that you have is like coaches that will let that go. It's like at the end of the day, it's their fault, right?
Yeah.
It's like that person, one, if they don't want to go down there, they should be told by the coach the reason why. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's different in every like facet of fitness, but in CrossFit, like this is the standard.
Yeah.
Like if you're not there, then it doesn't count as a rep. But if you look at it from like just a knee health perspective, like the days have gone of like, oh, you shouldn't bend your knee all the way or knees over your toes.
Yeah.
And like from a muscle standpoint, it's like you need to get it into the longest position for it to grow.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where it is. It should have pretty much nearly always be full range, unless it's like in season rugby or football where
unless
you're touching on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and this is the thing that people don't get. But yeah, he was just like, it's just like you should hold those standards as a coach. And the thing is, like you're saying, coaches will just disregard stuff now and label stuff as like hard. But it goes the same way for people that like every like gym or coach will always have a member that's like, oh, CrossFit hurt my shoulder. It's like, no, the coach was telling you you should be here in that gymnastics movement, but you've continued to disregard what they said. And then you've hurt your shoulder doing a butterfly pull-up that you're probably like a year away from even being able to attempt.
Yeah.
So that's your fault.
Yeah, right. Exactly that. That's the thing, was that when there's something with so many stepping stones to get to the end goal, it's like the temptation is just to jump forwards. And that is that down to the methodology, or is that down to just people's like inability to take a full and complete look at what's in front of them and be willing to take those steps? I think that's kind of rounds it up nicely to that kind of subtopic of that. CrossFit takes a bashing from multiple different angles when sometimes it's just a bit of human nature in that people aren't willing to take those steps or even be aware of them.
I think like if CrossFit is coached well, then there's not really that much room for error.
No, I think you're right, especially with the kind of slightly more modern take on programming, even from CrossFit HQ. Like, I think intensity is managed a lot better than it was. You've seen different traits that like prioritized on different days in terms of development. Things are well rounded.
I think like the classic is, all right guys, 6 a.m. class, you're going to go out for a 200 meter run to warm up. So you just got out of bed. There's no lower limb prep, and we can talk about like, yeah, you can do that. It's fine, like, but it's not optimal. And these same people will end up with foot, knee, ankle issues like over time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not well prepared to go into that. Like in that class, you might have business women or men that were out the night before, a few beers, dinner, trying to get some clients in for whatever their business is, and they're rocking up to a 6 a.m. class, and you're just outside in the concrete. Do you know what I mean? And it's like there's just no thought there or care.
Yeah. No, that segues nicely into our next topic, to be honest, where we're kind of zooming out a little bit and looking at a bit more of the kind of practical hierarchy to things which are optimal versus what is reality, what is actually going to help people. I think we can kind of sit here and chew on the word optimal and kind of personified by the science-based community at the moment on Instagram and stuff. I saw a funny post, you might have even sent it to me. It was like, you're worrying about what angle your chest supported lateral raise needs to be, and you're 32% body fat, and
it's like you've got tits.
That's it. Yeah, you've got tits. That sums it up nicely, because there's so many things you can go down the rabbit hole of, which it's like you don't even need to worry about that. Like a lot of people just need to do the basics well, as we've spoken about a million times before, but just gets lost in the sauce a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like people just understanding like what they need to bring to a movement as well, right? I was coaching class the other day, and we have a staff member called Amelia. She's like great, and we're just doing dumbbell floor press, and like when I was like giving instruction to begin with, I was like, okay guys, it's week 6 of the cycle, which is like the end week, and I was like, you've already done this session twice before, because it works in like an A/B cycle. I was like, you should have like 0, 1, maybe 1 rep left in the tank at the end of your set, 10 reps for a floor press. And I was like bear in mind the range of motion is shorter than normal if you were on a bench, which they've been doing for the last few weeks. So your loading should be a little bit heavier. Anyway, it's like 5 minutes into the 10-minute block, and I got up to her and I see she's got like 12 and a half, I think, in each hand. And I was like, what number are you on? She's like 8. I was like, okay, keep going. Got all the way to like 16 or 17. I was like, go and get some fucking heavier dumbbells. And then, do you know what I mean? It's like people are worrying, not so much her as an example, but like not understanding the intensity that you need to bring to a movement anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
But worrying about what height the cable is and angle that is coming through, which isn't even difficult either. It's just line the cable up with your fiber direction, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So people just overthink shit all the time.
Yeah. And there's in the information age, especially online as well, coaches get lost in it just as much, I think.
Yeah, some of the shit I've seen on socials recently about even just like hybrid training and like interference effect, and like it's like people giving people programs that we spoke about this the other week, like 5 or 6 days a week, and that person's only been training like twice a week to begin with, and now they're like, oh yeah, but I've set this out because on Monday you do strength, and then Tuesday you do a 50-minute aerobic piece. I'm like, at minute 20 they're already got muscular fatigue, so the interference effect is still there anyway from the day before. It's like your body doesn't just go, oh, it's Tuesday, I feel all right, you know. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like people just get so like lost with that, I think. So if you feel tired, just fucking have a rest day. It doesn't have to be Thursday is my rest day. Do you know what I mean? That's like the classic, isn't it? Because like before, training programs sometimes would be like 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? And then there would be like a substantial period of like time off training and but it's just everything is so like robotic now. It's like Monday to Sunday, rest day Thursday, rest day, active recovery. That's just another fucking training session for like most people. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
it's something I find myself saying to clients all the time, because I've got a lot of people which are trying to take CrossFit quite seriously in terms of learning the skills, doing things properly, and they're on 3-4 sessions a week, and I'm like, you got 7 days this week, get the training in whenever you want, when it suits you. I don't really care, so long as you're not doing your lower body focus session, going straight into another lower body focus session. To be honest, even if you're doing that, you're probably going to be all right. Like, you're not going to die, it's not going to be optimal, but like, that's the thing, you can stress about it so much, but I'd rather people bank quality training when it suits, as opposed to stressing.
One good thing was Aston Villa won like the UEFA Cup or some European thing, and they were like out on a bender like drinking, and then obviously there was the last game of the season, and the striker Ollie Watkins, the English striker, he scored 2, and he posted a picture of him like celebrating the goal, and he was like, don't want to hear anything about stats anymore, about health stats or like optimal recovery. So good, do you know what I mean? He's like, and then there's people like, oh no, I wouldn't do that after just only 9 hours of sleep. So fuck off. Come on.
That's another one that was personified by a reel from Stephen Bartlett, talking about how he had
3 glasses of wine.
Yeah, it ruined 2 weeks of his life. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, so good.
What happened to just pulling yourself together? Like,
I will die on the hill to say that I fucking hated that guy since he started like fucking 6 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think we even spoke about it really early on our pod, like on the sofa.
Yeah.
The fucking terrible lighting, and it's just absolute waffle.
Something else which was on the previous series of pods, the Old Testament, shall we say, and was clipped up, which was a quote from you, was and it was following this same kind of line of thought as well. We were talking about like just falling off things at like the first hurdle, or when it just takes a bit of grit to get through. And we were talking about like couldn't go for my run because it was raining or something. You were like, what, you made of fucking sugar? You're gonna melt if you go outside.
Honestly, it's crazy. I've had some good ones this week. I had the same girl this week, but 2 weeks ago we had dumbbell bent over row into like dumbbell shrug, and when I was like instructing, I was like, I don't want to hear that your traps are going to get bigger after one fucking session of doing this, because it's not going to happen. And then one girl came up to me. She was like, I've just had Botox in my traps. And I was like, I don't care. Just fucking do the exercise. So funny.
What was their range of motion like? Well, eyebrows just go.
I just couldn't, like, it took me off guard. I was like, I've heard a lot of things since I lived here and coached here, but I was like, that is just fucking, I had a girl in England, I think I told you about, who stole Botox off her like uncle in Japan, and she injected it into her calves, and she couldn't walk for like 2 months. So good.
I hope she's listening.
She's like, I don't want big calves. I was just like, fucking, it's your genetics, man.
That's funny. Moving swiftly on. I wanted to ask you, common coaching traits that you see with new people joining the gym. Obviously, without hurting too many feelings, but you're in a senior role at the gym, so get to grips with kind of things that people come on board with. I wondered if there's any kind of common denominators that you've noticed with people from different parts of the world.
What, as in coaches, or as in what they're seeing when they're coaching?
Whichever you think is most relevant, but I was kind of thinking more so from coaches and how they first perceive coming into the environment that is Bamboo, which is obviously a bit of a different gym for most people.
Quite eye-opening to begin with the variation of how people move. Like, we have people from all over the world, Western, fucking, so many like Asian people from this side of the world, and they all move very differently as well. Like the cliche is like, oh, the Asian squat is good. I can tell you that it's not every Asian squat. Definitely. And it's funny because it's kind of environmental thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, depending on where they're from in their country, and like if they're like from a business district area, do you know what I mean? their like mobility and range is awful.
Yeah.
And it's got to be because they're like in offices sitting down doing work, and like that stuff plays such a big role in like how it changes how you move. And like, yeah, they just don't move as well. Whereas like the other countries, they're a bit more like hustle and bustle. Do you know what I mean? Bit more Asian.
Yeah. Bit more accustomed to squatting on a corner sort of thing.
Yeah, literally like just like lifestyle makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But going back to the coaching point, I think one thing that most coaches are good at is like seeing a gross error.
Right. Yeah.
So like something that's like glaringly obvious that's wrong, but being able to like, I don't really like using the words like diagnose, or do you know what I mean? You're not like a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
I prescribe this workout. But being able to like see the error, but not go straight there and fix that thing. Like, oh, their hips are doing that. Oh, it must be a problem with their hip. And it's like, no, it's probably not. There's always like a series or a chain of events, or and coaches to begin with. When you're like less experienced, I think like being able to set someone up in the right position is also normally okay. But your ability to like articulate how they should, it's funny I couldn't say the word, or how to like do the movement and execute it is something that's not always seen as well. Like they might be doing a squat losing complete tension in the bottom, but it's like you don't just say, yeah, you should have more tension at the bottom. It's like, how are they initiating the movement and assigning tension to begin with in their hips, or like so I think that can be really, or like somebody's not able to compress on, let's say, a gymnastics movement, but they're like hanging onto the bar like with their fingertips, and it's like, okay, maybe let's look at the contact point. Stuff where for like in a senior role, I just kind of try and take their eyes from where they're looking to begin with and take them to somewhere that might be a little bit more beneficial to start off with, and then they can get to that position.
Yeah.
Because like if they go to the right place first, then it might correct whatever they're looking at.
Yeah, I think that gross error showing up and understanding that might not need addressing, or like the main joint moving might not be the thing that's causing that, but understanding that there's a bit of a timeline for a lot of movements where you could just track back on that timeline and get something in place. And it comes from experience of obviously coaching multiple people, but also maybe having a bit of experience in that movement as well. Yeah,
definitely. I think one other thing that newer coaches need to remember is that it is your job to like hold the person that you're coaching accountable to like whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like if they're doing a warm-up movement like a little bit wrong, go and fucking tell them and help them. And like if they're doing a back squat and they keep like not hitting depth, and the goal of the movement is like, say it's like 5x5 back squat, and they're just like loading the bar up because they think that that's the way they should progress. It's like, no, actually go and tell that person to take load off the bar in a nice way and say like, this is the reason why, and get them to do that. And I feel like a lot of newer coaches are a little bit hesitant to like step in and have that like presence of like, okay, this is how you should actually do the movement.
Just exert like a bit of authority. Yeah.
I think that is because what it boils down to is like you like having control of that space, and like the moment you let someone off once, it's just like they're just going to constantly do it.
Yeah.
Like I literally can feel people change their movement when I walk towards them sometimes. And then they'll look at me and laugh, and I'll be like, like don't just fucking hit depth when I'm walking over. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like it's human nature to cut corners as well for like most people. Do you know what I mean? Like if they're just training because they know they need to, like, and they're enjoying it as well, but like you need to build like that rapport of like, not getting down there again, are you? Or like, do you think that's heavy enough?
Yeah.
Or like whatever it might be. But yeah, I think building relationships is so important, and like you do a good job of it online as well. Like I have an example yesterday of a lady who listens to the podcast. Actually, her name's Emma. She's from Tassie, and she started with me 3 weeks ago, and then she was she wrote me a question about something yesterday, and it was like something that I previously asked about a goal when we first started working together. And then I just replied like, right, let's dissect this. And like, cause I was like, I need to get to the bottom of like what your actual goal is so I can help you properly. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I asked like a few more questions, and she sent me like a really long message, and she started it saying, dissect this, with a laughing face. But it was great. Do you know what I mean? Cause like, I need those answers.
Yeah.
Cause sometimes like I coached her here like twice or 3 times maybe in a class, but you need to build that rapport at the start of like a coaching journey, but then also like be able to go back and check in and be like, say if there's someone with you and they're like, oh, I really want to improve my gymnastics at the beginning, but then like a few weeks later, it's like actually something else that they really need to work on as well. But they just didn't have the confidence to come forward with that at the beginning. So yeah, I think just understanding your role is really important. I think for more so for newer coaches, because the reasons they're getting into coaching might not be as like bedded down as somebody like us who's been in the industry a while. Do you know what I mean? To begin with, they might just love training and they're like, oh yeah, this will be good. But then you realize that you actually fucking have to help people to do well at all in this job.
Yeah. I think like people that are coming into the industry, whether it is that they're coming from a different career or something, you can almost take a lot of confidence in the fact that you have previous experiences, which I'm sure you would have communicated with people in the past. And it's like, yeah, although that you're coming into something new where your technical knowledge might not be as high as someone else's, there's going to be points where, yeah, you need to shut up and listen. But there's also going to be points where you can use your experience as a person and to build a rapport with someone, and then to be able to communicate with them in a way which is going to really cut through and make a difference. And yeah, like that's something which I think having previous experience, whether that is coaching, whether that's doing anything else, can be very, very valuable. I noticed that myself, like from having experience of working on site and being able to communicate with like the lads, so to speak, but also going and having to do you know, like post-match dinners with at rugby clubs with like really posh old farmers and stuff, and being able to communicate with them and their family who are, you know, from a slightly different world, and you know, everywhere in between, corporate people as well, and having
definitely teaches you like different. Yeah, I remember the company I was like working at, like in the office, it was all like, morning, how are you? Yeah. And then as soon as you're on site, you're like, fucking go and get the pipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like understanding like who you need to be and where you need to be, and definitely in coaching, like you would have noticed probably even in your feedback now, it's like this person needs a direct instruction.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially like for me, I would rather be known as like direct and straight to the point, like with my coaching, instead of beating around the bush. And I think like the more experienced I get, I'm very like, just get to the point straight away. Like, how does that feel? They'll tell me. I'll be like, okay, do this. Feel better? Good. Carry on doing that.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, maybe we should try and then like there's all this like fluff.
Yeah.
Just like fix it and fuck off and go and help someone else.
Yeah. Nice. To wrap up, one last question, which I feel like might be a good one. Moving away from our previous topic entirely. The buzz around high rocks. Is it fleeting a little bit? I'm talking to people who are not necessarily coming to CrossFit, but they are looking for something else. Maybe getting a bit bored.
I reckon UK, yes. Europe and Australia,
not so much.
I think in Oz it's still very new.
Yeah.
Like really, it's only been 2, maybe 3 years there. Still people so gay for it there. Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
But we also did say this, didn't we, when we first started the pod? How long is it going to last? Do you know what I mean?
I think, there needs to be some sort of evolution there, otherwise.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, in the UK, people are having to travel to different countries just to get tickets, and like goes from something that's being really accessible because of the movements and everyone can do this, it'd be a really fun challenge, blah blah blah, to immediately being priced out and immediately just being forced out because there's no availability.
Yeah.
So and it's not evolving. Once you've done one, you kind of know exactly what it's going to be like, and you just try and beat your time, and then what?
Yeah, I think more so this side of the world, it's still a little bit fresher. But I mean, I did the first one in London. It was in 2021, I think. 5 years on, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been the same all the way through. Yeah, I don't know. For the sport, I think they're obviously doing really well. And the top level will always still be there.
Yeah.
But it's the same with everything. Like, there's loads of good stuff and bad stuff. Like, I was chatting to a girl yesterday on a coaching call. And I was like, what injury did you have? She was like a high rocks girl. And I knew straight away what it was going to be. She's like, just like stress. She had like edema in her foot.
Mm-hmm.
And she was at the gym and she was training like 2-3 times a day. Just like, you can see it coming, right? It's like kind of sad. And there was like that whole Lucy Davis and like all the influencers started getting stress fractures, and then they were like, oh, you're doing... It's like, yeah, but you're going to have to find out one way. I think we spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it will probably dip off in England. I definitely know like all of my mates that were doing it all the time aren't really... They might like hit a doubles now and again. It's like a bit of like fitness fun if you can get a ticket. But I think some of those tickets are given to them as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. It's expensive. It's really busy. Yeah.
I think, what seems to have had a bit more longevity is the turf games. Like, it's still not CrossFit. There's a bit more skill involved, but not to the extent of CrossFit.
Yeah. I think Affex is doing really well as well.
It's just gone global.
Basically, just like functional fitness.
Yeah.
Strength, endurance, metcon.
Yeah.
All sandwiched in one. One event.
And it changes as well, right? Is it every 6 months or year?
It might be 6 months or every year. But like quite a few CrossFit athletes have been doing it and do it. Like they're still in and around the top numbers, but like some of the like maximal strength numbers are obviously bigger than theirs. And that's really good to see, actually. Sharanki did it the other day and he was like, think top 10 in every event. So like the first event, I think he might have been like second or third in the strength, which was like back squat, deadlift, strict press, all different, like 5RM, 1RM, 3RM. And then the middle piece was like endurance. I think it was row and run. And I think he came maybe like somewhere in the top 10. Then the Metcon, don't know if he came first or second. But it's like interesting to see because like there's always going to be someone stronger, but then that person's going to be dying, running around like and on the row. But it's good for people to like put themselves out there in that competition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people can see that like it's not all raw physical traits, but at the same time, like if you want to be good at something, bumping all of that up is gonna raise your standard as a whole.
Yeah, it's quite good. But what I would like to see is more independent CrossFit comps back in like boxes. Yeah, like just it was so good before, and more functional fitness ones as well. Yeah. Think back to like 4 years ago, before COVID, really. I think they were like going off, weren't they, all the time? Yeah. And I think since then there's been, with like not being able to do anything in COVID, and then everyone jumping on running, and then Hyrox really just fucking hit the ground running, didn't they, with that? Yeah. Like, pardon the pun, but because everyone was already running, they were like, oh, let's do this as well. And then it really took off from there.
That's where I think the direction has gone for a lot of people, which were, hybrid training, high rocks. And I think the next thing for a lot of people from that is further down the running route. If they are, that way inclined.
Half Ironman, Ironman, Ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost, a bit more of a natural progression if you are like insistent on not squatting to depth or learning to
or ever being strong.
do a clean or something. Nice one. Yeah, that wraps up the podcast for today. Well, not really, because we're about to record another one, but for this episode. Thank you for your support so far. Very, very appreciated as always.
Louis will be happy. He said he's out of pods.
Oh yeah, exactly.
One of our regular listeners.
He'll be happy because he's got some forged kit coming soon as well. So shout out to
Sponsored by Forged.
Yeah, if you want some nice merch, jump on that. Which is also a group program if you want some group training as well. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, in 5 minutes.